fuse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention. A kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, and gentles all, the flat, unraised spirits that have dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth such great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casques that did affright the air at Agincourt? Oh, pardon, since a crooked figure may attest in little place a million, and let us, ciphers to this great account, on your imaginary forces work. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them, printing their proud hoofs in the receiving earth. But as your thoughts now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply admit me, chorus to this history, who, prologue-like, your humble patience pray, kindly to hear, gently to judge our play.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe, and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth. and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition, that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. And this most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave overhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire, why, it appears no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapours. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action how like an angel, in apprehension how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust?
Be absolute for death. Either death or life shall thereby be the sweeter. Reason thus with life. If I do lose thee, I do lose a thing that none but fools would keep. A breath thou art, servile to all these skyey influences that thus this habitation where thou keepest hourly afflict. Merely thou art death's fool, for him thou labourest by thy flight to shun, and yet runnest toward him still. Thou art not noble, for all the accommodations that thou bearest are nursed by baseness. Thou art by no means valiant, for thou dost fear the soft and tender fork of a poor worm. Thy best of rest is sleep, and that thou oft provokest, yet grossly fearest thy death, which is no more. Thou art not thyself, for thou existest on many 1,000 grains that issue out of dust. Happy thou art not, for what thou hast not still thou strivest to get, and what thou hast thou forgettest. Thou art not certain, for thy complexion shifts to strange effects after the moon. Thou hast nor youth nor age, but as it were an after-dinner sleep, dreaming on both. For all thy blessed youth becomes as aged, and doth beg the arms of palsied eld. And when thou art old and rich, thou hast nor heat, affection, limb, nor beauty to make thy riches pleasant. What's yet in this that bears the name of life?
I wish there were no age between 16 and 22, or else they'd sleep out the rest, 'cause there's nothing in between, except getting wenches with children, wronging the ancient tree, a stealing and a fighting, and hunting. Who but a boiled brain of 19 and 23 goes a-hunting in this weather, I ask you? And they have scared off 2 of my best sheep. And I guarantee that wolf will have them before the master. And if I have them anywhere, it's down by the seaside, a-browsing on ivy. Oh, well, good luck. And, be thy will. What have we here? Well, I think it'd be a bairn. Well, it'd be a very pretty bairn. I wonder if it'd be a boy or a child. Whatever it is, it'd be a pretty one. I see some scape here. I really do. Now, I'm not a bookish person, but I'm reading some waiting gentlewoman in this here scape. There's some behind the stair work, some trunk work, and some behind the door work. And I bet they be warmer that got this than this poor little mite be here. I'll take it up for pity's sake. There you go, boy.
The law hath not been dead, though it hath slept. Those many had not dared to do that evil if the first that did the edict infringe had answered for his deed. Now 'tis awake, takes note of what is done, and, like a prophet, looks in a glass that shows what future evils either new or by remissness new conceived, and so in progress to be hatched and born, are now to have no successive degrees, but, ere they live, to end. Yet show some pity. I show it most of all when I show justice, for then I pity those I do not know, which a dismissed offence would after gall, and do him right that answering one foul wrong lives not to act another. Be satisfied. Your brother dies tomorrow. Be content.
So you must be the first that gives this sentence, and he that suffers. Oh, wit is excellent to have a giant's strength, but it is tyrannous to use it like a giant. Could great men thunder as Jove himself does, Jove would ne'er be quiet, for every pelting petty officer would use his heaven for thunder, nothing but thunder. Merciful heaven, thou rather with thy sharp and sulphurous bolt splits the unwedgeable and gnarled oak than the soft myrtle. But man, proud man, dressed in little brief authority, most ignorant of what is most assured, his glassy essence, like an angry ape, plays such fantastic tricks before high heaven as make the angels weep, who with our spleens would all themselves laugh mortal. Authority, though it err like others, hath yet a kind of medicine in itself that skins the vice or the top. Go to your bosom. Knock there and ask your heart what it doth know that's like my brother's fault. If it confess a natural guiltiness such as is his, let it not sound a thought upon your tongue against my brother's life.
All my offence is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal elders cursed upon it, a brother's murder. Pray can I not, though inclination be as sharp as will. My stronger guilt defeats my strong intent, and like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin and both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Wherefore serves mercy? But to confront the visage of this offence, and what's in prayer but this twofold force? To be forestalled ere we fall, or pardoned, being down, then I'll look up. My fault is past! But oh, what prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder. That cannot be, since I am still possessed of the effects for which I did the murder. My crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offence? In the corrupt currents of this world, offence's gilded hand may shut by justice, and oft is seen the wicked prize itself can buy out the law. It is not so up above. There is no shuffling. There, the action lies in its true nature, and we ourselves compelled even to the teeth and forehead of our faults to give in evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? Oh, thou stubborn knees, and heart with strength of steel, be soft as sinews of the newborn babe.
The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. It is mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His sceptre shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty wherein do sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show likest God's, when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice none of us should see salvation. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy.
Away! You are an ass! You are an ass!
Dost thou not suspect my place? Dost thou not suspect my years? Oh, that you were here to write me down an ass. But masters, remember that I am an ass. Though it be not written down yet, forget not that I am an ass. Know thou, villain, thou art full of piety, and shall be proved upon thee by good witness. I am a wise fellow, and which is more, an officer, and which is more, a householder, and which is more, as pretty a piece of flesh as any is in Messina, and one that knows the law, go to, and a rich fellow enough, go to, and a fellow that hath had losses, and one that hath 2 gowns, and everything handsome about him. Oh, bring him away. Oh, that I had been writ down an ass.
I'm rather so to be despised than to deceive so good a commander with so indiscreet an officer. Drunk and squabble, swagger, swear. Oh, thou invisible spirit of wine, if thou hast no name to be known by, let us call thee devil. I remember a mass of things, but nothing distinctly. A quarrel, but nothing wherefore. Oh God! A man would put the enemy in their mouths to steal away their brains. To be now a sensible man, by and by a fool, and presently a beast. Every inordinate cup is unblessed, and the ingredient is a devil.
Bear with me. I am hungry for revenge, and now I cloy me with beholding it. Thy Edward, he is dead, that stabbed my Edward. Thy other Edward dead, to quit my Edward. Thy Clarence, he is dead, that killed my Edward. And the beholders of this tragic play, the adulterous Hastings, Rivers, Vaughan, Grey, untimely smothered in their dusky graves. Richard yet lives. Hell's black intelligencer only reserved their factor to buy souls to send thither. But at hand, ensues his piteous and unpitied death. Earth gapes, hell burns, fiends roar, saints pray to have him suddenly conveyed away. Cancel his bond of life, dear God, I pray, that I may live to say the dog is dead.
Thrice the brindle cat has mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge pig whined.
Harper cries, 'tis time, 'tis time.
Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under a cold stone days and nights has 31. Sfeltered venoms sleeping got, boil thy first in the charmed double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cold bubble.
Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble.
Double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, moor and gulf of the ravine, salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, finger of birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab, add thereto a tiger's children for the ingredients of our cauldron.
Double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Call it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open, locks, whoever knocks.
Virtue for fig. 'Tis in ourselves that we are thus or thus. Our bodies are our gardens, to the which our wills are gardeners, so that if we will plant nettles or sow lettuce, either to have it sterile with idleness or manured with industry, why the power of this lies in our wills. We have reason to call our unbitted lusts, whereof I take this that you call love to be a scion. It is merely a lust of the blood and a permission of the will. Come be a man, drown thyself, drown cats and blind puppies. I could never better stead thee than now. Put money in thy purse, follow thou the wars, I say, put money in thy purse. Well, it cannot be that Desdemona should long continue her love to the Moor. Put money in thy purse, nor he his to her. Put money in thy purse. These Moors are changeable in their wills. Fill thy purse with money. Well, she must change for use. When she's sated with his body, she will find the error of her choice. She must have change, she must. Therefore, put money in thy purse, make all the money thou canst. If sanctimony, and a frail thou, betwixt an erring barbarian and a super-subtle Venetian, be not too hard for my wits, thou shalt enjoy her. Therefore, make money. Thou pox of drowning thyself, it's clean out the way. Seek thou rather to be hanged encompassing thy joy than to be drowned and go without her.
Glamis thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, thou wouldst holily, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win. Thou'dst have, great Glamis, that which cries thus thou must do, if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do than wishes should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valour of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round. The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pull thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this sun of York, and all the clouds which lured upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our sterner arms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fight the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasings of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking-glass, I that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I that am curtailed at this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark as I halt by them. Why, I in this weak piping time apiece have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. Dive thoughts down to my soul. Here Clarence comes. Brother, good day, what means this armed guard?
I know that knave. Hang him. One Parolles. A filthy officer he is in those suggestions for the young Earl. Beware of them, Diana. Their promises, enticements, oaths, tokens, and all these engines of lust are not the things they go under. Many a maid hath been seduced by them, and the misery is example, that so terrible shows in the wreck of maidenhood. Cannot for all that dissuade succession, but they are limed with the twigs that threaten them. I hope I need not to advise you further, but I hope your own grace will keep you where you are, though there were no further danger known but the modesty which is so lost.
And what's he then that says I play the villain? When this advice is free, I give an honest to win them more again. For 'tis most easy the inclining Desdemona to subdue to any honest suit. How am I then the villain to counsel Cassio to this parallel course directly to his good? Divinity of hell. When devils will the blackest sins put on, they do suggest at first with heavenly shows, as I do now. For whiles this honest fool plies Desdemona to repair his fortunes, and she for him pleads strongly to the more, I'll pour this pestilence into his ear, that she repeals him for her body's lust, and by how much she strives to do him good, she shall undo her credit with the more. So will I turn her virtue into pitch, and out of her own goodness make the net that shall enmesh them all.
But there I have another bad match. A bankrupt, a prodigal who dare scarce show his head on the Rialto. A beggar that was wont to come so smug upon the mart. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to call me usurer. Let him look to his bond. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. He hath disgraced me and hindered me 500,000. Laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation. Thwarted my bargains, called my friends, heated mine enemies. And what's his reason? I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes, hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer as a Christian is. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be by Christian example? Why, revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute. It shall go hard, but I will better the instruction.
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night. If thou didst ever thy dear father love, revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. Murder, most foul, as in the best it is, but in this most strange, foul, and unnatural. 'Tis given out that, sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown. Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, won to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. O Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was even of that dignity where it went hand in hand with the vow I gave to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor. Soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be. sleeping in the orchard as was my custom of the afternoon. Upon my secure hour thy uncle stole, with cursed juice of henbane in a vial, and in the porches of mine ear did pour it. Thus was I by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen at once dispatched. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. The glowworm shows the matin to be near, and gins to pale his ineffectual fire. Adieu, 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 remember me.
What's this? What's this? Is this her fault or mine? The tempter or the tempted? Who sins most? No, not she. Nor doth she tempt, but is I, that, lying by the violet in the sun, do as the carrion does, not as the flower, corrupt with virtuous season. Can it be that modesty may more betray our sense than woman's lightness? Having waste ground enough, shall we desire to raise the sanctuary and pitch our evils there? Fie, fie, fie. What dost thou? Or what art thou, Angelo? Dost thou desire her foully for those things that make her good? Oh, let her brother live. Thieves for their robbery have authority when judges steal themselves. What? Do I love her, that I desire to hear her speak again and feast upon her eyes? What is't I dream on? O cunning enemy, that to catch a saint with saints dost bait thy hook. Most dangerous is that temptation that doth goad us on to sin in loving virtue. Never could the strumpet with all her double vigour, art and nature once stir my temper. But this virtuous maid subdues me quite. Even till now, when men were fond, I smiled and wondered how.
Soft you. A word or two before you go. I have done the state some service, and they know it. No more of that. I pray you, in your letters when you shall these unlucky deeds relate, speak of me as I am, nothing extenuate, nor set down aught in malice. Then must you speak of one who loved not wisely, but too well, of one not easily jealous, but being wrought perplexed in the extreme, of one whose hand, like the base Indian, threw a pearl away richer than all his tribe, of one whose subdued eyes, unused to the melting mood, drop tears as fast as the Arabian trees of medicinal gum. Set you down this, and say besides, that in Aleppo once, where a malignant and turbaned Turk beat a Venetian and traduced the state, I took by the throat the circumcised dog and smote him thus. I kissed thee ere I killed thee. No way but this, killing myself, to die upon a kiss.
How happy some o'er, others some can be. Through Athens I am thought as fair as she, but what of that? Demetrius thinks not so. He will not know what all but he do know. And as he errs, doting on Hermia's eyes, so I, admiring of his qualities. Things base and vile, holding no quantity, love can transpose to form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. For O Demetrius looked on Hermia's eyne, he hailed down oaths that he was only mine. And when this hail some heat from Hermia felt, so he dissolved, and showers of oaths did melt. I will go tell him of fair Hermia's flight, then to the wood will he tomorrow night pursue her. And for this intelligence, if I have thanks, it is a dear expense. But herein mean I to enrich my pain, to have his sight thither and back again.
So sweet a kiss the golden sun gives not to those fresh morning drops upon the rose, as thy eye-beams, when their fresh rays have smote the night of dew that on my cheeks down flows. Nor shines the silver moon one half so bright through the transparent bosom of the deep, as doth thy face through tears of mine give light. Thou shinest in every tear that I do weep. No drop but as a coach doth carry thee, so ridest thou triumphing in my woe. Do but behold the tears that swell in me, and they thy glory through my grief will show. But do not love thyself, then that will keep my tears for glasses, and still make me weep. O Queen of Queens, how far dost thou excel? No thought can think, no tongue of mortal tell. How shall she know my griefs? I'll drop the paper. Sweet leaves, shade folly.
I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviour to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. Such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music in him but the drum and the fife, and now would he rather hear the tabor and the pipe. I've known when he would have walked 10 mile afoot to see a good armour, and now will he lie 10 nights awake, carving the fashion of a new doublet. He was wont to speak plain, and to the purpose, like an honest man and a soldier. Now as he turned orthography, his words are a very fantastical banquet. Just so many strange dishes. May I be so converted and see with those eyes? I cannot tell. Think not. I will not be sworn, but love may transform me to an oyster. But I'll take my oath on it, till he hath made an oyster of me, he shall never make me such a fool. One woman is fair, yet I am well. Another is wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, yet I am well. But till all graces be in one woman shall not come in my grace. Rich she shall be, that's certain. Wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll never look on her. Mild, or come not near me. Noble, or not I for an angel. Of good discourse, an excellent musician, and her hair shall be of whatever colour it please God.
And may it be that you have quite forgot a husband's office. Shall Antipholus, even in the spring of love, thy love springs rot? Shall love in building grow so ruinous? If you did wed my sister for her wealth, then, for her wealth's sake, use her with more kindness. Or, if you like elsewhere, do it by stealth, muffle your false love with some show of blindness. Bear a fair presence, though your heart be tainted. Teach sin the carriage of a holy saint. Be secret false. What need she be acquainted? What simple thief brags of his own attaint? 'Tis double wrong to truant with your bed, and let her read it in thy looks at board. Shame hath a bastard fame well managed, ill deeds are doubled with an evil word. Alas, poor women, make us but believe, being compact of spirit, that you love us. Though others have the arm, show us the sleeve. We in your motion turn, and you may move us. Then, gentle brother, get you in again. Comfort my sister, cheer her, call her wife. 'Tis holy sport to be a little vain when the sweet breath of flattery conquers strife.
Sweet mistress, what your name is else I know not, nor by what wonder you do hit of mine. Less in your knowledge and your grace you show not, and are earth's wonder, more than earth divine. Teach me, dear creature, how to think and speak. Lay open to my earthly gross conceit, smothered in errors, feeble, shallow, weak, the folded meaning of your words' deceit. Against my soul's pure truth, why labour you to make it wander in an unknown field? Are you a god? Would you create me new? Transform me then, and to your power I'll yield. But if that I am, then well I know your weeping sister is no wife of mine, nor to her bed no homage do I owe. Far more to you do I decline. Oh, train me not, sweet mermaid, with thy note, to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears. Sing siren for thyself, and I will dote. Spread o'er the silver waves thy golden hair, and as a bed I'll take them and there lie, and in that glorious supposition think, he gains by death, and have such means to die. Let love, being light, be drowned if she sink.
If music be the food of love, play on, give me excess of it. Surfeiting, the appetite may sicken and so die. That strain again, it had a dying fall. It came o'er my ear like the sweet sound that breeds upon a bank of violets, stealing and giving odour. Enough. No more. It is not so sweet now as it was before. O Spirit of love, how quick and fresh art thou, that notwithstanding thy capacity receiveth as the sea, naught enters there of what validity and pitch soe'er, but falls into abatement and low price even in a minute. So full of shapes is fancy that it alone is high fantastical.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy. Yet he talks well, but what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth. Not very pretty, but sure he's proud. And yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offence, his eye did heal it up. He's not very tall, yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. 'Twas just the difference between the constant red and mingled damask. There be some women, Silvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet, I have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black, and my hair black, and now I am remembered, scorned at me. I marvel why I answered not again. I'll write him a very taunting letter. I'll write it straight. The matter is in my head and in my heart. I will be bitter with him and passing short.
I see what you are. You are too proud. But if you were the devil, you are fair. My lord and master loves you. Oh, such love could be but recompensed, though you were crowned the nonpareil of beauty.
How does he love me?
Oh, with adorations, fertile tears, with groans that thunder love, with sighs of fire.
Your lord does know my mind. I cannot love him. Yet I suppose him virtuous, know him noble, of great estate, of fresh and stainless youth, in voices well divulged, free, learned and valiant, and in dimension and the shape of nature a gracious person, but yet I cannot love him. He might have took his answer long ago.
If I did love you in my master's flame, with such a suffering, such a deadly life, in your denial I would find no sense. I would not understand it.
Why, what would you?
Make me a willow cabin at your gate, and call upon my soul within the house. Write loyal cantons of contemned love, and sing them loud even in the dead of night. Hallo your name to the reverberate hills, and make the babbling gossips of the air cry out, Olivia! Oh, you should not rest between the elements of air and earth, but you should pity me.
You might do much. What is your parentage?
Above my fortunes, yet my state is well. I am a gentleman.
Get you to your lord. I cannot love him. Let him send no more, unless, perchance, you come to me again to tell me how he takes it. Fare you well.
Fiddler, forbear! You grow too forward, sir.
But wrangling pedant, this is the patroness of heavenly harmony. When in music we have spent an hour, your lecture shall have leisure for as much.
Preposterous ass! That never read so far to know the cause why music was ordained? Was it not to refresh the mind of man after his studies or his usual pain? Then give me leave to read philosophy, and while I pause, serve in your harmony.
Sirrah, I will not bear these braves of thine.
Why, gentlemen, you do me double wrong to strive for that which resteth in my choice. I'll not be tied to hours nor pointed times, but learn my lessons as I please myself. And, to cut off all strife, here, sit me down. Take you your instrument, play you the wilds. His lecture will be done ere I have tuned.
You'll leave his lecture when I'm in tune.
That will be never. Tune your instrument.
Now, where left we last?
Here, madame. Hic ebat simois, hic est sicia tellus.
Could you construe them?
Hic But, as I told you before, Simois, I am Lutiento. Hic est, son unto Vincento of Pisa. Segia Tellus, disguised thus, to get your love.
Madam, I am now in tune.
Ah, let's hear. Oh, fie. The treble jars.
Fit in the hall, man, and tune again.
Now, let me see if I can construe it. Hic ibat Simois. I know you not. Hic est. I trust you not. Sigea. Presume not. Tellus. Despair not.
Madam, the instrument is now in tune.
All but the bass.
The bass is right. 'Tis the bass knave that jars.
Farewell, sweet masters both. I must be gone.
Faith, mistress, then I have no cause to stay.
Ah, now, what have I scaped love letters in the holiday time of my beauty, and am I now a subject for them? Let me see. Ask me no reason why I love you. For though love use reason for his physician, he admits him not for his counsellor. You are not young. Ah, no more am I. Go to then, there's sympathy. You are merry, so am I. Well, then there's more sympathy. You love sack, and so do I. Would you desire better sympathy? Let it suffice thee, Mistress Page, at the least, if the love of soldier can suffice that I love thee. I will not say pity me, 'tis not a soldier-like phrase, but I say love me, by me, thine own true knight, by day or night, or any kind of light, with all his might, for thee to fight, John Falstaff. What a Herod of jury is this? Oh, wicked world. One that is well nigh worn to pieces with age to show himself a young gallant. What an unweighed behaviour hath this Flemish drunkard picked with the devil's name out of my conversation, that he dares in this manner assay me? Why, he hath not been thrice in my company. Why, I'll exhibit a bill in the Parliament for the putting down of men. How shall I be revenged on him? For revenged I will be, as sure as his guts are made of puddings. Oh, here she is. Coming in? Oh, here she goes. Hello. Hiya! I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You've got to unmute. That's it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I got
yes.
you. Hello.
Well, Mrs. Page, trust me, I was coming to your house.
And trust me, I was coming to you. You look very ill.
Mistress Page, give me some counsel.
What's the matter, woman?
If it were not for one trifling respect, I could come to such honour.
Hang the trifle, woman. Take the honour. What is it? Dispense with trifles. What is it?
If I would but go to hell for one eternal moment, I could be knighted.
What? Thou liest. Sir Alice Ford?
We burn daylight. Read, perceive how I might be knighted.
Okay, now back up a bit, it's a bit too close. That's it. Oh my goodness. It's a little... Oh. Oh.
I shall think the worse of fat men as long as I have an eye to make a difference of men's liking. And yet he gave such orderly and well-behaved reproof to all uncomeliness that I would have sworn his disposition would have gone to the truth of his words.
Yeah.
But they do no more adhere and keep place together than the 100th Psalm to the tune of Greensleeves. What tempest I trow through this whale with so many tons of oil in his belly ashore at Windsor? How can I be revenged on him? I think the best way were to entertain him with hope.
Ooh.
Till the wicked fire of lust has melted him in his own grease. Did you ever hear the like?
Letter for letter, but that the name of Page and Ford differ. Just a minute. Screen share. Hang on.
Yeah.
Here we go. Got it?
Oh, hang on.
Have a read.
Oh, do you know
Huh? To thy great comfort in this mystery of ill opinions is the twin brother of thy letter. But let thine inherit first, for I protest mine never shall. I warrant he hath 1,000 of these letters, writ with blank space for different names, sure more. And these are of the second edition. He will print them out of doubt, for he cares not what he puts into the press when he would put us to. I'd rather be a giantess and lie under Mount Pelion.
Why, this is the very same, the very hand, the very words. What does he think of us?
Nay, I know not. It makes me almost ready to wrangle with mine own honesty. I'll entertain myself like one I am not acquainted withal, for sure, unless he knows some strain in me that I know not myself, he would never have boarded me in this fury.
Boarding, you call it? I'll be sure to keep him above deck.
So will I. If you come under my hatches, I'll never to see again. Let's be revenged on him. Let's consult together against this greasy night. I'll call you. I'm going to call you. All right?
All right, I'll call you.
Okay, all right.
All right then.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
She only did show favour to that youth in your sight to exasperate you, to awake the dormouse of your valour, put some fire in your heart and brimstone in your liver. You should have accosted her. You should have shown some fire new zests, fresh new from the mint, and you should have banned that youth into dumbness. But the double guilt and gift of this opportunity you did balk. So you let it just wash over you. You have now sailed into the north of my lady's opinion, where you will hang like an icicle on a Dutchman's beard. Unless... No. Well, unless you can redeem yourself by some act of valour or policy.
Come, woo me. Woo me, for now I'm in a holiday humour and like enough to consent. What would you say to me now, and are we your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you were better speak first, for lovers lacking matter, the cleanliest shift is to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins new matter. Am I not your Rosalind?
I would take some joy to say you are, for I would be talking of her.
Then, in her person, I say, I will not have you.
Oh, then in mine own person I die.
No, Faith, die by attorney. The poor world is almost 6,000 years old, and in all this time there was not any man died in his own person in a love cause. Well, men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my own Rosalind of this mind, for I protest her frown might kill me.
By this hand, it will not kill a fly. But come, now I will be your Rosalind in a more coming on disposition. And ask me what you will, and I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith will I. Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why? Then can one desire too much of a good thing? Now tell me how long you would have her after you've possessed her.
Oh, forever and a day.
Say a day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his hen, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will weep for nothing, like Diana in the fountain, and I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyena, and that when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
Oh, by my life, she will do as I do.
Oh, but she is wise.
Or else she could not have the wit to do this. The wiser, the waywarder. Make the doors upon a woman's wit, and it will out at the casement. Shut that, and 'twill out at the keyhole. Stop that, 'twill fly with the smoke out at the chimney.
A man that had a wife with such wit, he might say, wit, whither wilt?
Nay, you might keep that check for it till you met your wife's wit go into your neighbour's bed.
And what wit could wit have to excuse that?
Marry, say she came to seek you there. You will never take her without her answer unless you take her without her tongue. Oh, that woman cannot make her fault her husband's occasion. Let her never nurse her child herself, for she will breed it like a fool.
And I, forsooth, in love. I that have been love's whip, a very beetle to a humorous sigh, a critic, nay, a night watch constable, a domineering pedant o'er the boy, this senior, junior, giant dwarf, Don Cupid, regent of love rhymes, lord of folded arms, the anointed sovereign of sighs and groans. And I, to be a corporal of his field, and wear his colours like a tumbler's hoop. What? I? Love? I, Sue, I seek a wife. A woman that is like a German clock, still they're repairing, ever out of frame and never going aright. Being a watch, but being watched that it might still go right. Nay, to be perjured, which is worst of all. A whitely wanton with a velvet brow, with 2 pitch balls stuck in her face for eyes. Ay, and by heaven, one that will do the deed, though Argos were her eunuch and her guard. And I to sigh for her, I to watch for her, to pray for her, go to. It is a plague that Cupid will impose for my neglect of his almighty dreadful little might. Well, I will love, write, sigh, pray, sue, and groan. Some men must love my lady, and some Joan.
Till I have no wife, I have nothing in France. Nothing in France until he has no wife. Thou shalt have none, Roussillon, none in France. Then hast thou all again. Poor Lord, is't I that chase thee from thy country, and expose those tender limbs of thine to the event of the non-sparing war? And is it I that drive thee from the sportive court, where thou wast shot at with fair eyes to be the mark of smoky muskets? Oh, you leaden messengers, that ride upon the violent speed of fire, fly with false aim, move the still peering air that sings with piercing, do not touch my lord. Whoever shoots at him, I set him there. Whoever charges upon his forward breast, I am the caitiff that do hold him to it. And though I kill him not, I am the cause his death was so affected. Better 'twere I met the raving lion as he roared with sharp constraint of hunger. Better 'twere that all the miseries that nature owes were mine at once. No, come thou home, Brusillon, whence honour but of danger wins a scar as oft it loses all. I will be gone. My being here is that holds thee hence. Shall I stay here to do it? No! No. Although the air of paradise did fan the house, and angels officed all, I will be gone, that pitiable rumour may report my flight to consolate thine ear. Come night, end day, for with the dark, poor thief, I'll steal away.
Thus have I politically begun my reign, and 'tis my hope to end successfully. My falcon now is sharp and passing empty. She ate no meat today, nor none shall she eat. Last night she slept not, nor tonight shall she not. As with the meat, some undeserved fault I'll find about the making of the bed, and here I'll sling the pillow, there the bolster, this way the coverlet, another way the sheets. Aye, and amid this hurly I intend that all is done in reverent care of her. And in conclusion, she shall watch all night, and if she chance to nod, I'll rail and brawl, and with the clamour keep her still awake. This is the way to kill a wife with kindness, and thus I'll curb her mad and headstrong humour.
I left no ring with her. What means this, lady? Fortune forbid, my outside hath not charmed her. She made good view of me, indeed so much that sure methought her eyes lost her tongue, for she did speak in starts distractedly. She loves me, sure. The cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. None of my lord's ring. Why, he sent her none. I am the man. Oh, if it be so as 'tis, poor lady, she were better love a dream. Disguise, I see thou art a wickedness wherein the pregnant enemy does much. How easy is it for the proper false in women's waxen hearts to set their forms? Alas, our frailty is the cause, not we. For such as we are made of, such we be. How will this fadge? My master loves her dearly, and I, poor monster, fond as much on him, and she, mistaken, seems to dote on me. What will become of this? As I am man, my state is desperate for my master's love. As I am woman, now, alas the day, what thriftless sighs shall poor Olivia breathe? O time, thou must untangle this knot, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie.
Signor Leonato be her father, she would not have his head on her shoulders for all of Messina, as like him as she is.
I wonder that you will still be talking, Signor Benedict. Nobody marks you.
What? My dear Lady Disdain, are you yet living?
Is it possible Disdain should die? Why, she hath such meat food to feed it as Signor Benedict. Courtesy itself must convert to disdain if you come in her presence.
Then is courtesy a turncoat. But it is certain I am loved of all ladies, only you excepted. And I would I could find it in my heart that I had not a hard heart, for truly I love none.
A dear happiness to women. They would else have been troubled with a pernicious suitor. I thank God and my cold blood I am of your humour for that. I had rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me.
God keep your ladyship still in that mind, so some gentleman or other shall scape a predestinate scratched face.
Scratching could not make it worse unto such a face as yours were.
Well, you are a rare parrot, teacher.
A bird of my tongue is better than a beast of yours.
I would my horse had the speed of your tongue, and so good a continuer. But keep your way in God's name, I have done.
You always end with a jade's trick. I know you of old.
Virginity being blown down, man will quickly be blown up. Marry. In blowing him down again with the breach yourselves made, you lose your city. It is not politic in the commonwealth of nature to preserve virginity. Loss of virginity is rational increase, and never was virgin got till virginity was first lost. That you are made of is metal, to make virgins. Virginity, being once lost, may be 10 times found, but by being kept, it is ever lost. 'Tis a cold companion. Away with it! There's little to be said in it. 'Tis against the rule of nature. To speak on the part of virginity is to accuse your mothers, which is most infallible, disobedience. He that hangs himself is a virgin. Virginity murders itself, and so should be buried by the highways, out of all sanctified limit, as a desperate offendress of nature. Virginity breeds mites, much like a cheese, consumes itself to the very paring, and so dies, with feeding of his stomach. Besides, virginity is peevish, proud, idle, made a self-love which is the most inhibited sin in the canon. Keep it not. You cannot choose but lose by it. Out with it. Within 10 years it will make itself 10, which is a goodly increase, and the principle itself not much the worse. Away with it.
By my troth, niece, thou would never get thee a husband if thou be so shrewd of thy tongue.
Just, if God send me no husband, for the which blessing I am at him upon my knees every morning and evening. Lord, I could not endure a husband with a beard on his face. I'd rather lie in the woolen.
You may light on a husband that hath no beard.
What should I do with him? Dress him in my apparel and make him my waiting gentlewoman? He that hath a beard is more than a youth, and he that hath no beard is less than a man. And he that is more than a youth is not for me, and he that is less than a man, I am not for him. Therefore I will even take sixpence in earnest of the bear ward, and lead his apes into hell.
Well then, go you into hell?
No, but to the gate. And there will the devil meet me and say, Get you to heaven, Beatrice, get you to heaven. Here's no place for you maids. So deliver I up my apes, and away to St. Peter for the heavens. He shows me where the bachelors sit, and there live we, merry as the day is long.
Well, niece, I hope to see you one day fitted with a husband.
Not till God make men of some other metal than earth. Would it not grieve a woman to be overmastered with a piece of valiant dust? To make an account of her life to a clod of wayward marl? No, uncle, I'll none. Adam's sons are my brethren, and truly, I hold it a sin to match in my kindred.
Fie, unknit that threatening unkind brow. It blots thy beauty as frosts do bite the meads, confounds thy fame as whirlwinds shake their buds, and is in no sense meet or amiable. A woman moved is like a fountain troubled. muddy, ill-seeming, thick, bereft of beauty, and while it is so, none so dry or thirsty will deign to sip or touch one drop of it. Thy husband is thy lord, thy life, thy keeper, who for thy maintenance commits his body to painful labour both by sea and land, to watch the storms by night, the day in cold, whilst thou liest home warm, safe and secure, and craves no other tribute at thy hand, but love, fair looks, and true obedience. Too little payment for so great a debt. I am ashamed that women are so simple to offer war when they should kneel for peace, or to seek for rule, supremacy and sway, when we are bound to serve, love and obey. Why are our bodies so soft and weak and smooth, unapt to toil and trouble in the world, but that our soft conditions and our hearts should well agree with our external parts? My mind hath been as big as one of yours, my heart is great, my reason haply more. But now I see our lances are but straws, our strength is weak, our weakness past compare, that seeming to be most which we indeed least are. Then veil your stomachs, for it is no boot, and place your hands below your husband's foot, in token of which duty, if he please, my hand is ready, may it do him ease.
I know a place where the wild thyme blows, where oxlips and the nodding violet grows, quite over canopied with luscious woodbine, with sweet musk roses and with eglantine. There sleeps Titania some time of the night, lulled in these flowers with dances and delight. And there the snake throws her enamelled skin, weed wide enough to trap a fairy in. And with the juice of this I'll streak her eyes, and make her full of hateful fantasies. Take thou some of it and seek through this grove. A sweet Athenian lady is in love with a disdainful youth. Anoint his eyes, but do it when the first thing he espies may be the lady. Effect it with some care, that he may prove more fond on her than she upon her love. And look thou meet me ere the first cock crow.
You know, Helen, I am a mother to you. Why not a mother? When I said a mother, methought you saw a serpent. What's in mother, that you start at it? I say, I am your mother, and put you in the catalogue of those that were enwombed mine. 'Tis often seen adoption strives with nature, and choice breeds a native slipped to us from foreign seeds. You ne'er oppressed me with a mother's groan, yet I express to you a mother's care. God's mercy, maiden, does it curd thy blood to say I am thy mother? What's the matter, that this distempered messenger of wet, the many-coloured iris rounds thine eye? Why, that you are my daughter? Yes, Helen, you might be my daughter-in-law. God shield you mean it not. Daughter and mother so strive upon your pulse. What, pale again? My fear hath catched your fondness. Now I see the mystery of your loneliness, and find your salt tears head. Now to all sense, 'tis gross you love my son. Invention is ashamed against the proclamation of thy passion, to say thou dost not. Therefore tell me true, but tell me then. 'Tis so, for look, thy cheeks confess it the one to the other, and thine eyes see it so grossly shown in thy behaviours that in their kind they speak it. Only sin and hellish obstinacy tie thy tongue, that truth should be suspected. Speak, is't so? If it be so, you have wound a goodly clue. If it be not, forswear it. Howe'er, I charge thee, as heaven shall work in me for thine avail, tell me truly.
All's one. Good faith, how foolish are our minds! If I do die before thee, prithee, shroud me in one of those same sheets. My mother had a maid called Barbara. She was in love, and he she loved proved mad and did forsake her. She had a song of willow. An old thing 'twas, but it expressed her fortune, and she died singing it. That song tonight will not go from my mind. I have much to do but go hang my head all on one side and sing it like poor Barbara. The poor soul sat sighing by a sycamore tree, seeing all a green willow, her hand on her bosom, her head on her knee. Sing willow, 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 willow. Sing willow, 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 shall be my garland. Sing all a green willow, 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 willow. Sing all a green willow, shall be my garland. The fresh streams ran by her and murmured her moans. Sing all a green willow. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stones. Lay by these. Sing willow, 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 willow. Sing willow, 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 shall be my garland. Sing all a green willow, 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 willow. Prithee hie thee, he'll come anon. Sing all a green willow, shall be my garland. Let nobody blame him, his scorn I approve. Nay, that is not next. Hark, who is it knocks? He called my love false love, but what said he then? Sing all a green willow. If I caught more women, you'll couch with more men. So, get thee gone. Good night. Mine eyes doth itch. Did that bode weeping? I have heard it said so. Oh, these men, these men! Dost thou in conscience think, tell me, Amelia, that there be women that do abuse their husbands in such gross kind?
Yes, a dozen. But I do think it is their husbands' faults if wives do fall. Say that they slack their duties, or else break out in peevish jealousies, throwing restraint upon us, or say they strike us. Why, we have galls. And while we have some grace, yet have we some revenge. Let husbands know their wives have sense like them. They see and smell and have their palates for both sweet and sour, as husbands have. What is it they do when they change us for others? Is it sport? It is so too. And have not we affections, desires for sport and frailty as men have? Then let them use us well, else let them know the ills we do, their ills instruct us so.
You may think perchance that I think you're in love. Nay, by'r lady, I am not such a fool to think what I list, nor I list not to think what I can, nor indeed I cannot think. If I would think my heart out of thinking that you are in love, or that you will be in love, or that you can be in love, oh, yet Benedick, oh, such another. And now he's become a man. He swore he would never marry, and yet now, in despite of his heart, he eats his meat without grudging. And how you may be converted I know not, but methinks you look with your eyes as other women do.
Love is merely a madness, and, I tell you, deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. And the reason why they are not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it by counsel. I cured one so, and in this manner. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me, at which time would I, being but a moonish youth, grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something and for no passion truly anything, as boys and women are for the most part cattle of this colour, would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him, that I drove my suitor from his mad humour of love into a living humour of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and to live in a nook merely monastic. And thus I cured him. And this way will I take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, that there shall not be one spot of love in it.
I'll tell thee how Beatrice praised thy wit the other day. I said thou hadst a fine wit. True, said she, a fine little one. No, said I, a great wit. Right, said she, a great gross one. Nay, say I, a good wit. Just, said she, it hurts nobody. Nay, say I, the gentleman is wise. Certain, says she, a wise gentleman. Nay, say I, he hath the tongues. That I believe, said she, for he swore a thing to me on Monday night, which he forswore on Tuesday morning. There's a double tongue, there's two tongues. Thus did she, an hour together, transhape thy particular virtues. Yet at last she concluded, with a sigh, thou wast the properest man in Italy, for the which she wept heartily, and said she cared not. But yet, for all that, she said if she did not hate you deadly, she would love you dearly. The old man's daughter told us all.
Jove knows I love, but who? Lips do not move. No man must know, no man must know. No man must know? If this should be thee, Malvolio. In my stars I am above thee, but be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Thy fates open their hands, cast thy humble slough, and appear fresh. Be opposite with a kinsman, surly with servants. Let thy tongue tang arguments of state. Put thyself into the trick of singularity, she thus advises thee that sighs for thee. Remember who commended thy yellow stockings, and wished to see thee ever cross-gartered. I say remember. Go to, thou art made, if thou desirest to be so. If not, let me see thee a steward still, the fellow of servants, and not worthy to touch fortune's fingers. Farewell, she that would alter services with thee, the fortunate unhappy. Daylight and champagne discovers not more. This is open. I will be proud. I will read politic authors. I will baffle Sir Toby. I will wash off gross acquaintance. I will be point devise the very man. I do not now fool myself for every reason excites to this, that my lady loves me. She did commend my yellow stockings of late. She did praise my leg being cross-gartered, and in this she manifests herself to my love. I thank my stars that I am happy. I will be strange, stout, in yellow stockings and cross-gartered, even with the swiftness of putting on. Jove and my stars be praised. Here is yet a postscript. Thou canst not choose but know who I am. If thou entertainest my love, let it appear in thy smiling. Thy smiles become thee well. Therefore in my presence still smile. Dear my sweet, I prithee. Jove, I thank thee. I will smile. I will do everything that thou wilt have me.
I'll none of these pullets sperm in my drink. Go, make haste. Have I lived to be crated in a basket and thrown in the Thames like a barrow of butcher's offal? Well, an I be served such another trick, I'll give them leave to take out my brains and butter them, and give them to a dog for a New Year's gift. Blood. The rogues slided me in with as little remorse as if they'd gone to drown a blind bitch's puppies in the Thames. You might have known by my life I have a kind of alacrity in sinking. And the bottom had been as deep as hell, I should drown. I had been drowned, but the shore was shelvy and somewhat shallow. A death that I abhor. You know the water swells a man. What a thing should I have been when I've been swelled? By the Lord. A mountain of mummy. Now, is the sack brewed?
Wit, and it be thy will, put me into a good fooling. Those wits that think they have thee do very oft prove fools, and I, whom sure I lack thee, may pass for a wise man. For, as Quinopolus says, better a witty fool than a foolish wit. God bless thee, lady.
Take the fool away.
Do you not hear, fellows? Take away the lady.
Go to. You're a dry fool. I'll no more of you. Besides, you grow dishonest.
2 faults, Madonna, that drink and good counsel will amend. For, if the fool be dry, give the dry fool drink, then he is not dry. If you bid the dishonest man mend himself, if he mend, then he is not dishonest.
if he cannot, let the botcher mend him. Anything that's mended is but patched. Virtue that transgresses is but patched with sin. Sin that must amend is but patched with virtue. If this simple syllogism will serve, so. If not, what remedy? And it was there is no true cuckold but calamity. So, beauty's a flower. The lady bade, take away the fool. Therefore I say again, take away the lady.
Sir, I bade them take away you.
Misprision in the highest degree, lady. I wear not motley in my brain. Give me leave to prove you a fool.
Can you do it?
Dexterously, Madonna.
Make your proof.
I must catechize you for it, Madonna. Good my mouse of virtue, answer me.
Well, sir, for want of other idleness, I'll bide your proof.
Good Madonna, why mournest thou?
Good fool, for my brother's death.
I think your brother's soul is in hell, Madonna.
I know his soul is in heaven, fool.
More fool, Madonna, to mourn for your brother's soul being in heaven. Ha ha! Take away the fool, gentlemen.
Hadst thou not crossed me, thou shouldst have heard how her horse fell, and she under her horse. Thou shouldst have heard in how miry a place, how she was bemoiled, how he left her with a horse upon her, how he beat me because her horse stumbled, how she waded through the dirt to pluck him off me, how he swore, how she prayed as I prayed before, how I cried. Oh, how the horses ran away, how her bridle was burst, with many things of worthy memory, that now shall die in oblivion, and thou return unexperienced to thy grave.
Was this fair face the cause, quoth she, why the Grecians sacked Troy? With that she sighed as she stood, and said this sentence then, among 9 bad, if one be good, there is one good in 10. One good woman in 10, madam. And God would serve the world so all the year, and we might have a good woman born one at every blazing star, or at an earthquake. 'Twould mend the lottery well. A man may draw his heart out and pluck one. Man should be at woman's command. And yet no hurt done.
Yet here, Laertes, aboard for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There. My blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory see thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast, and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. But do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new-hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear it that the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habits, as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy. For the apparel oft proclaims the man. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. For loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night's the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee.
Why, mistress, sure my master is horn mad. Oh, I don't mean cuckold mad, but sure he is stark mad. When I desired him to come home to dinner, he asked me for 1,000 marks in gold. "'Tis dinner time," quoth I. "My gold," quoth he. "The meat doth burn," quoth I. "My gold," quoth he. "We're come home," quoth I. "My gold," quoth he. "Where is the 1,000 marks I gave thee, villain?" "The pig," quoth I, "is burnt." "My gold," quoth he. "Me mistress, sir," quoth I. "Hang up thy mistress. I know not thy mistress. Out on thy mistress." "I know," oh, quoth he. "No home, no wife, no mistress. So that my errand do unto my tongue, I thank him I bear home upon my shoulders. For in conclusion, he did beat me there."
Call me, and when my cue comes, and I shall answer. My next is most fair Pyramus. Hey ho, Peter Quince. Flute the bellows mender. Snout the tinker. Starveling. God's my life. Stolen hence and left me here asleep. I have had a most rare vision. I have had a dream past the wit of man to say what my dream was. Man is but an ass, if he go about to expound what my dream was. Methought I was. There is no man to say what. Methought I was, and methought I had. But man is but a patched fool if he can offer to say what methought I had. The eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen, his hand cannot taste, his tongue conceive, nor his heart report what my dream was. I shall ask Peter Quince to make a ballad of my dream, and it shall be called
Bottom's dream, because it hath no bottom. And I shall sing it at the latter end of the play, before the Duke. Peradventure, to make it the more gracious, I shall sing it at her death.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And now, how bored in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I kissed I not know how oft. Where be your gibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that are wont to set a table on a roar? Not one now, to mock your own grinning. Quite chapfallen. Get thee to thy lady's chamber, and tell her let her paint an inch thick, to this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing. Dost thou think Alexander looked in this fashion over the earth? To what base uses we may return to, Horatio? Why, may imagination not trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping a bunghole? As thus, Alexander died, Alexander was buried, Alexander returneth into dust. The dust is earth. Of that earth we make loam. And why of that loam, whereto he was converted, might he not be found stopping a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth which kept the world in awe might patch a wall to expel the winter's flaw.
Methoughts that I had broken from the tower, and was embarked to cross to Burgundy, and in my company my brother Gloucester, who from my cabin tempted me to walk upon the hatches. Thence we looked toward England, and sighted up 1,000 fearful times during the wars of York and Lancaster that had befallen us. As we paced along, methought that Gloucester stumbled, and in falling struck me that thought to stay him overboard. Oh, Lord, Lord, methought, what pain it was to drown, what dreadful noise of waters in mine ears, or what ugly sights of death within mine eyes. Methought I saw 1,000 fearful wrecks, 10,000 men that fishers gnawed upon, wedges of gold, great anchors, heaps of pearl, all scattered in the bottom of the sea. Some lay in dead men's skulls, and in those holes where eyes did once inhabit, there were crept, as 'twere in scorn of eyes, reflecting gems, which wooed the slimy bottom of the deep, and mocked the dead bones that lay scattered by. Often did I strive to yield the ghost, but still the envious flood kept in my soul, and would not let it forth. O Brackenbury, I have done those things which now bear evidence against my soul for Edward's sake, and see how he requites me. I pray thee, gentle keeper, stay by me. My soul is heavy, and I fain would sleep.
The miserable change, now at my end. Lament nor sorrow at, but please thy thoughts by feeding them with those my former fortunes, wherein I lived, the greatest prince of the world, the noblest, and do now not basely die, not cowardly put off my helmet to my countrymen. A Roman, by a Roman, valiantly vanquished. Now my spirit is going. I can no more.
Noblest of men, would die? Hast thou no care of me? Shall I abide in this dull world, which in thy absence is no better than a sty? Oh, see my women. Oh, oh, the crown of the earth doth melt, my lord. Oh, withered is the garland of war, the soldier's pole is fallen. Young boys and girls are level now with men. The odds is gone, and there is nothing left remarkable beneath the visiting moon.
There is a willow grows aslant a brook that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There, with fantastic garlands, did she come of crow flowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples, that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There on the pendant boughs her coronet weeds, clambering to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like awhile they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Farewell! God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of life. I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse! What should she do here? My dismal scene needs I must act alone. Come, Val. What if this mixture do not work at all? No. Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? No. No, this shall forbid it. Lie thou there. What if it be poison which the friar subtly has administered me to have me dead, lest he be in this marriage he should be dishonoured, because he married me to Romeo before? How if when I am laid in the tomb I wake up before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? Oh, there's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, and there die, strangled when my Romeo comes? Or, if I live, is it not very like the horrible conceit of death and night, together with the terror of the place, where bloodied Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in his shroud? Where, as they say, at some hours of the night spirits resort. Oh, if I wake, shall I not be distraught, envined with these hideous fears, and madly play with my forefathers' joints, and pluck mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and then in this rage, with some great kinsman's bone, as with a club, dash out my desperate brains? Oh, look. Methinks I see my cousin's ghost, seeking out Romeo, that did spit his body on rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo, I come. This I do drink to thee.
Wherefore? Why does not every earthly thing cry shame upon her? Could she here deny the story that is printed in her blood? Do not live, hero, do not ope thine eyes. For, did I think thou wouldst not quickly die, myself would on the rearward of reproaches strike at thy life. Grieved I had but one. Oh, one too much by thee. Why had I one? Why ever was thou lovely in my eyes? Why had I not, with charitable hand, took up a beggar's issue at my gates? Who, smirched thus and mired with infamy, I might have said, no part of it is mine, this shame derives itself from unknown loins. But mine, and mine I loved, and mine I praised, and mine that I was proud on, mine so much that I myself was to myself not mine, valuing of her. Why she, oh, she is fallen into a pit of ink, and the wide sea hath drops too few to wash her clean again, and salt too little, which may season give to her foul-tainted flesh.
Good name. In man and woman, dear my lord, is the immediate jewel of their souls. Who steals my purse, steals trash. 'Tis something, nothing. 'Twas mine, 'tis his, and hath been slave to thousands. But he that filches from me my good name robs me of that which not enriches him, but makes me poor indeed.
What studied torment, tyrant, hast for me? What wheels, racks, fires? What flaying, boiling, in leads or oils? What old or newer torture must I receive, whose every word deserves to taste of thy most worst? Thy tyranny, together with thy jealousies, fancies too weak for boys, too green and idle for girls of 9. Oh, think what they have done, and then run mad indeed. Stark mad. Thy bygone fooleries were but spices of it. That thou betrayed Polixenes, 'twas nothing. That did but show thee of a fool, inconstant and damnable ungrateful. Nor was it much that thou wouldst have poisoned good Camillo's honour to have him kill a king. Poor trespasses, more monstrous standing by, whereof I reckon the casting forth to crows thy baby daughter to be of none or little, though a devil would have shed water out of fire ere done it. Nor is it directly laid to you, the death of the young prince, whose honourable thoughts high for one so tender, cleft the heart that could conceive so gross and foolish a sire, blemished his gracious dam. This is not laid to thy answer. But the last, O lords, when I have said, cry woe, the queen, the sweetest, dearest creature's dead. And vengeance for it not dropped down yet.
Being so right, I am that merry wanderer of the night. I jest Oberon and make him smile when I have fat and being fed horse beguile. neighing in likeness of a filly foal, and sometimes low crying gossip's bowl, in very likeness of a roasted crab. And when she drinks, against her lips I bod, and on her withered dewlap pour the ale. The wisest aunt telling the saddest tale. Sometimes for 3-foot stool mistaketh me, then slip I from her bum, down topple she, and Taylor cries and falls into a cough. The whole choir holds their hips and laughs, and waxen in their mirth and knees and swear. Merrier hour was never wasted there. But Broomfairy, here comes Oberon.
I have 2 nights watched with you, but can perceive no truth in your report. When was it she last walked?
Since His Majesty went into the field, I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write on it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed, and all this while in a most fast sleep.
A great perturbation in nature to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effects of watching. In this slumbery agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say?
That, sir, which I will not report after her.
You may to me, and 'tis most meet you should.
Neither to you nor to anyone, having no witness for my speech. Oh, lo you, here she comes. This is her very guise. And, upon my life, fast asleep, observe her, stand close.
How came she by that light?
Why, it stood by her. She has it with her continually, 'tis her command.
You see her eyes are open.
Ay, but their sense are shut.
What is it that she does now? Look how she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action with her thus to seem, washing her hands. I have known her continue in this a quarter of an hour.
Yet here's a spot.
Hark, she speaks. I will set down what comes to her from her to satisfy my remembrance the more strongly.
Out, damned spot. Out, I say. 1, 2. Why, then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie, my lord, fie. A soldier and afeard? What need we fear who knows it when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him?
Do you mark that?
The Thane of Fife had a wife. Where is she now? What will this hands ne'er be clean? No more of that, my lord, no more of that. You mar all with this starting.
Go to, go to. You have known what you should not.
She has spoke what she should not. I'm sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known.
Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh, oh, oh!
What a sigh is there. The heart is sorely charged.
I would not have such a heart in my bosom for the dignity of the whole body.
Well, well, well.
Pray God it be, sir.
This disease is beyond my practice. Yet I have known those which have walked in their sleep who have died holily in their beds.
Wash your hands. Put on your nightgown. Look not so pale. I tell you again, Banquo's buried. He cannot come out on his grave.
Even so?
To bed. To bed. There's knocking at the gate. Come, 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 come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed. To bed. To bed.
Will she go now to bed?
Directly.
Foul whisperings are abroad. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. More needs she the divine than the physician. God, God forgive us all. Look after her, remove from her the means of all annoyance, and still keep eyes upon her. So good night. My mind she hath mated and amazed my sight. I think, but dare not speak.
Good night, good doctor.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the natural thousand shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, the spurns that the patient merit of the unworthy takes, but that the dread of something after death? The undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others we know not of. And thus, conscience makes cowards of us all. And thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with pale cast and thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment. In this regard, their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a death. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Now the hungry lion roars, and the wolf behowls the moon, whilst the heavy ploughman snores, all with weary tasks foredone. Now the wasted brands do glow, whilst the screech owl, screeching loud, puts the wretch that lies in woe in remembrance of a shroud. Now is the time of night, that the graves all gaping wide, every one lets forth their sprite in the churchway path to glide, and we fairies that do run past the hickle turket's team, from the presence of the sun following darkness like a dream, now are frolic. Not a mouse shall disturb this hollowed house. I am sent with broom before, to sweep the dust behind the door.
Ceres, most bounteous lady, thy rich lees of wheat, rye, barley, vetches, oats and peas, thy turfy mountains where live nibbling sheep, and flat meads thatched with stover, them to keep. Thy banks with peonied and twilled brims, which spongy April at thy hest betrims, to make cold nymphs chaste crowns, and thy broom groves whose shadow the dismissed bachelor loves, being lass lorn, thy pole-clipped vineyards, and thy sea marge sterile and rocky hard, where thou thyself dost err, the queen of the sky, whose watery arch and messenger am I, bids thee leave these, and with her sovereign grace, here on this grass plot in this very place, to come and sport, her peacocks fly amain, approach, rich Ceres, her to entertain.
Earth's increase, foison plenty, barns and garners never empty, vines with clustering bunches growing, plants with goodly burden bowing. Spring come to you at the farthest, in the very end of harvest. Scarcity and want shall shun you. Ceres' blessing so is on you.
Her father loved me, oft invited me, still questioned me the story of my life from year to year, the battles, sieges, fortunes I had passed, wherein I spake of most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, of hairbreadth escapes in the imminent deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence. This to hear would Desdemona seriously incline. She gave me for my pains a world of sighs. She swore, "I' faith, 'twas strange, 'twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful." She wished she had not heard it, yet she wished that heaven had made her such a man. She thanked me, and bade me, if I had a friend that loved her, I should but teach him how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Upon this hint I spake. She loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them. This only is the witchcraft I have used. Here comes the lady. Let her witness it.
The barge she sat in, like a burnished throne burned on the water. The poop was beaten gold. Purple the sails, and so perfumed that the winds were love-sick with them. The oars were silver, which the tune of flutes kept stroke, and made the water which they beat to follow faster as amorous of their strokes. For her own person, it beggared all description. She did lie in her pavilion cloth of gold of tissue, picturing that Venus where we see the fancy outwork nature. On each side her stood pretty dimpled boys like smiling cupids, with divers coloured fans whose wind did seem to glow the delicate cheeks which they did cool, and what they undid, did. Her gentlewomen, like the Nereides, so many mermaids tended her in the eyes and made their bends adornings. At the helm, a seeming mermaid steers. The silken tackles swell with the touches of those flower soft hands that yearly frame the office. From the barge, strange, invisible perfume hits the sense of the adjacent wharves. The city cast her people out upon her, and Antony, enthroned in the marketplace, did sit alone, whistling to the air, which but for vacancy had gone to gaze on Cleopatra too, and make a gap in nature. Upon her landing, Antony said to her, invited her to supper. She replied, it should be better he became her guest, which she entreated. Our courteous Antony, whom ne'er the word of no woman heard speak, being barbered 10 times o'er, goes to the feast, and for his ordinary pays his heart, for what his eyes eat only. I saw her once hop 40 paces through the public street, and having lost her breath, she spoke and panted that she did make defect perfection, and breathless power breathe forth. Well, age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety. Other women cloy the appetite they feed, but she makes hungry where most she satisfies. For vilest things become themselves in her.
Be not feared. The isle is full of noises, sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will thrum about mine ears, and sometimes voices, if I then had waked after long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then, in dreaming, the clouds methought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked, I cried to dream again.
I dreamed there was an Emperor Antony. Oh, such a sleep that I might see but such another man.
If it might please you.
His face was as the heavens, and therein stuck a sun and moon which kept their course and lighted the little O, the earth.
Most sovereign creature.
His legs bestrid the ocean, his reared arm crested the world. His voice was propertied as all the tuned spheres, and that to his friends. But when he meant to quail and shake the orb, he was as rattling thunder. For his bounty there was no winter in it, an autumn 'twas that grew the more by reaping. In his livery walked crowns and crownets. Realms and islands were as plates dropped from his pocket.
Cleopatra.
Think you there was or might be such a man as this I dreamed of?
Gentle madam, no.
You lie! Up to the hearing of the gods! But if there be, or ever were one such, it's past the size of dreaming. Nature wants stuff to vie strange forms with fancy. Yet to imagine an Antony were nature's peace 'gainst fancy, condemning shadows quite.
Had I plantation on this isle, my lord, and I were king on it, what should I do? His commonwealth, by all contrary, I would execute all. I would admit no traffic, no name of magistrate, use of service none, no riches, no poverty, no occupation, all men idle, all, and women too, all pure and innocent. No sovereignty. All things of nature should of their own account, without sweat or endeavour, produce, and all things for my innocent people. I would rule in perfection and excel the golden age.
We have landed in ill time. The skies look grimly and threaten present blusters. In my conscience, the heavens, with that we have on hand, are angry and frown on us. Make your best haste. Go not far in the land, 'tis like to be loud weather. Besides, this place is famous for the creatures of prey that keep upon it.
When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth.
I come, Grey Morkin.
Paddock calls.
Anon.
And filth the air.
Is this a dagger I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as that which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on my blade and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is this bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now, over the one half world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel the wolf, who howls his watch, thus with stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design moves, like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate my whereabout, and take the horror from the present time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives.
If we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here, while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme no more yielding than a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend, and as I am an honest fuck, if we have unearned luck, now to scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long. Else the Puckalackle. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And, like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inheriteth shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell, and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
It is not the fashion to see the lady the epilogue, but it is no more unhandsome than to see the lord the prologue. If it be true that good wine needs no bush, 'tis true that a good play needs no epilogue. Yet to good wine they do use good bushes, and good plays prove the better by the help of good epilogues. What a case I am in then, that am neither a good epilogue nor cannot insinuate with you in the behalf of a good play. I am not furnished like a beggar, therefore to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you, and I'll begin with the women. I charge you, O women, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as please you. And I charge you, O men, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive by your simpering none of you hates them, that between you and the women the play may please.